would say there is. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up! Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account.
So, here, where we did the PGF, 10th Planet Decatur, number 2 man, Keelan. So, hope everybody enjoys this episode. We're on YouTube this time. This is the first ever episode on YouTube. Welcome.
I might just hold this thing.
It's the easiest way to do
Just
it.
because it won't come further. And I'm a chiller. I'm like a chiller.
A lounger. That's why I flipped the screen around, because I was like, I may lounge my way out of the screen on accident. So,
Yeah.
well, welcome to the Daily Stack.
Boom. This is it.
We're in. We're in.
All right.
We're out. Yeah, buckle up. First episode on YouTube.
Hello,
So,
YouTube.
Yeah. This is, well, it's not the first episode. I've put the other episodes. I've done a couple like distance ones, and have you done a whole lot of this Zoom podcasting?
I've been involved. I haven't been on the screen, but I've been involved in making it happen. Yeah.
I get what they're doing, and I get that people are starting to like be okay with it, but in person, this is so much better. I enjoy this.
It's for sure better. But I'll give Zoom and all the online stuff their props. It's better than nothing, like if you can't meet someone. So, for example, I saw a commercial the other day where they were like, it was an old guy, and he was like, he clicked on something in his email, and it like brought him into this like Zoom call, and he was watching live cartoons with his like grandson. And my mom was like, "Oh, that's so cool. I'd love to like watch a movie with Kara," which is my sister that's like in the Navy on a boat in like the ocean. You know what I'm saying? So like hasn't seen her in a little while. And so she was like, "That'd be cool if I could like watch a new movie with my daughter like live." So I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And of course she'd rather be in the same room eating popcorn with her, but she can't. So, you know, there it is.
I get the sentiment. I get how it's neat. I've had, I guess I was turning 22, maybe. And that's my roommate was from England, and he like Skyped into, and it was like a big deal because my dad had like a Skype account. He was like, "This is so cool." So he came in, and like Ollie was there for, hibachi, which I don't know. It's cool. Keelan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. So your role here, what would you call your role here at 10th Planet Decatur?
Oh, so I like to call myself just Brandon's camera guy.
Yeah.
That's me, man. I'm just Brandon's camera guy. Everybody knows Brandon in the Jiu Jitsu scene as like the online Jiu Jitsu instructor, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm Brandon's camera guy. Technically, I guess I'm like the media team manager or whatever, like the head of the media team here at 10th Planet Decatur.
Okay. So what got you into like the film stuff? Has that been what you've been doing? Have you been doing camera stuff? Like what were you doing before you were the camera guy for Brandon?
Dude, I was just a normal dude doing jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I was paying a membership and like coming here to train. I waited tables. Like that's how I made money. Nothing to do with filming. I didn't go to school for it. I never took pictures like growing up. I've always just a normal dude, nothing to do with this stuff. There was a realization one day, a couple years ago, where I was just like looking at photo albums of myself as a kid, and like the little kid was so cute, and like I was just thinking about the memories and stuff, and it was like a good moment. And I was just thinking about my daughter. I have a couple kids, and I was like, I don't really take pictures. I don't really document what's going on. I need to do that. And so I started thinking like, okay, social media is like the closest form of documentation that we do right now. It's like, if I do take a picture, I'll post it on, Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So like, that's the photo album. Instagram's the photo album. Facebook's the photo album. YouTube is a photo album of videos. Like, we couldn't look at videos when I was a kid unless my mom went out of her way with this big brick to film some
Right.
terrible video. You know what I'm saying?
It's like mostly the sky, like bouncing around. Yeah.
So now you can just do it with the phone.
Right.
You take pictures or videos with the phone, and it's pretty good. And so that's where it started for me. I just wanted to start documenting me and my family for the future. You know what I'm saying? With my cell phone. And so it brought me to YouTube, asking YouTube questions like how to make a video with a cell phone and things like that. And it started my journey. And I started like vlogging, just documenting a couple days and like fun stuff that I did with the kids and stuff. And it just kind of became a thing. And next thing you know, I'm the guy walking around with the selfie stick all the time.
Yeah.
And Brandon was just like, hey, you want to point that camera at me for a little bit?
Yeah.
I'll knock off some money off your membership. And it just grew, man.
Yeah. So like you really had you didn't like pick up like a Sony 6500 or whatever and be like, I'm gonna make whatever. So that was what you said a couple years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago probably. Let's see, I've had my video business, Subconscious Studios, for like 2 years. I've worked with Brandon 3 or 4. So
Have you done any other video projects or anything that you do?
yeah, man. So whenever I was really growing and diving into it, I wanted to video everything.
Yeah.
I was doing real estate videos for a couple real estate agents that train here. I was doing wedding videos for friends and family that would have weddings. I was doing just commercials for like local businesses, like Facebook ad kind of stuff. All kinds of special interviews and like pieces on people, which I really enjoy. I enjoy like documenting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. I like documenting interesting
Were you
stuff,
like
telling stories.
Were you into documentaries and stuff like that, like coming along?
Yeah, I love a good documentary.
Yeah.
I love a story when they can take you somewhere on a journey in this film.
Yeah.
They start you here, and then you end up in a totally different place, and you learn something along the way. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why everybody loves a good movie.
Right.
What
What would be your like Rushmore of movies?
if I was making it?
Yeah, if you were making it, like if you had 5, what would you call that?
So I've thought about this a little bit, and none of the 5 I would pick would be like a movie that's like a fantasy or like something that's not real. I think there's so many good movies out there, like the Marvel. We're watching the Marvel universe right now.
Right.
All the Avengers and stuff, and fantastic. Not real.
Yeah.
They created it, right? Lots of animation going on. I don't want to be involved in that kind of stuff.
Right.
There's so much of that going on, and it's so cool, and they're doing a great job. Kudos. I would be involved if I was doing movies. It would be a documentary of sorts. Have you seen? It was on Netflix for a while. Conor McGregor's movie documentary called Notorious, or The Notorious.
Yeah.
Where it like goes with him from like Dublin, Ireland, on welfare, talking about one day being on the UFC cards,
Right.
to like fighting Jose Aldo for the belt. You know, that movie, that documentary, that's what I want to make. I want to make stories like that, and like tell stories to where like when you watch this thing, you learn something about Connor, or you learn something about Brandon, or whatever the story is telling. You're in it for the long run in that hour or two documentary, and then you just learn about them, like their story. I love that.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of like found footage.
Yeah.
The style of it's not really intentional, and I might have referenced this on a podcast recently, but there's a style of Russian film that I like to watch, and I'm not even gonna like embarrass myself to try to say it because I've only ever read it.
Give it a try.
No, I have no idea. I don't even know where to start. There's so many consonants, but like it's this style where it's supposed to be like getting interjected into a moment in someone's life, and then flip to another moment in someone else's life throughout the city, and like it would take you on tours, quote unquote, like through this this story of a Russian city through silent film, and like just like it had like real pretty like soundtracks. So, like this whole time I've been editing for the Dream Show, I've on my other monitor been playing this like Russian style like silent film, because like that's what I'm really into, the fact of like it feeling like no one in the room knows that the camera's there. Because like the whole reason that this podcast has been only audio for so long has been that, like, as you know, as soon as you point that camera at people, all of a sudden they go,
yeah,
and then they don't talk.
Man, I've seen that so many times. Like, I've shot probably more interview videos than any other video, I would say. Jiu-jitsu techniques, I guess, with Brandon. That's just second nature to me now. But
it becomes a formula.
Yeah,
at that point.
it's a template.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got one too. That's like that I've developed. That it's just like, oh, I can just throw that, and those can happen.
It's literally unconscious. I could watch a movie while I do the jiu-jitsu video edits almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes time, but it is like almost unconscious at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But the interviews, I can't tell you how many times I'll be having just a great conversation. The rapport is built. We're vibing, and then, like you said, the bright lights come on, the camera turns on, and then they just lose their words, man.
Lights have always been, and I've even tried to find ways around having lights when I've been interviewing people to try not, because that's usually like when you switch those on, that's usually when they're like, oh, this is real.
We're really doing this.
Yeah, but what people don't understand though is that, like, to go on a TV set and create what we just created, you still would have taken
12 guys, couple grand.
Oh man, it would have been like 30 grand just to get the truck there.
Yeah.
Like you, and that's what people don't realize, is that like you have the capability as a small business to like be your own media.
That's why I've been so successful. I mean, if I had to have the team and the people and all the equipment and stuff like that, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Nah.
The way in, how to get your foot in the door these days is so much easier. Like you said, like I'm the light guy, I'm the audio guy, and I'm the video guy, and it's all in the backpack or in the back of my vehicle. You know, it's super easy, super compact. And through time, like at first I was building more stuff. I need this, I need that, and then a year went by with all the stuff, you know, and then I'm like, I think I want to downsize, actually.
Yeah.
I think I want to be as compact as possible so I can do this by myself, like you said.
Yeah.
I need to be able to pack up and go to that house for the real estate video, or pack up and go to that place for the wedding, you know, and just be the crew, like you said.
I started out with doing like shows, like the frat parties and stuff. Like I was in a college town, so like I would just go up and do the like band shows and stuff like that, you know. $200, $150.
Yeah.
You know, go in there, take a bunch of pictures of a bunch of drunk college kids, and then be like, all right. And like that's where like I got to where like playing with lighting, playing with things like that, you get to, you know, messing with it. But then like jiu-jitsu. So like when you turned the camera, was it always as like almost instantaneous that you turned the camera to jiu-jitsu and you were like, oh yeah, I want to film this? Because, like, I mean, you're becoming, like, the Southeastern, like, one of the film guys for the jiu-jitsu.
I want to be.
A lot of the big names are getting filmed by you now.
Ultimately, I would like to be the jiu-jitsu film guy.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask you, who comes to mind whenever you think about that?
I'm trying to be the Spike Jones of jiu-jitsu.
Who's right now the jiu-jitsu film guy? I would say Stuart Cooper.
Yeah.
Michael Plaster.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, there's what's his name that does the Anatomy of the Fighters? Will Harris.
Harris.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I could jive with that.
I'm trying to be one. You know,
I got you.
I want to be in the talks at least. You know,
Yeah.
and I think just with consistency, it's bound to happen. What we're doing with the PGF this season 2 is going really good, I think, and that's gonna get better. Everything's just gonna get better.
How did that come about for you? As far as like, I know Brandon's tried a couple iterations of it. Was it kind of y'all just kind of looking at it and coming together on this? Because y'all are both. I mean, you're commission number 2.
Yeah,
So, like, how did that come about?
man, Brandon has lots of ideas,
I can tell.
and some of them are better than others. The PGF has been one that he's been brewing for a long time.
Yeah.
He tried a couple things before that, like the Submission League and a couple others, and I mean they're good, but they were just tournaments. You know, that they weren't quite what he
Right.
wanted. He wanted to like keep it going. You know, the Submission League was gonna happen often, but it didn't kind of play out. The ultimate goal has always been that season of grappling, the over a long period of time, it playing out just like other sports. And so he finally just kind of finished the idea properly and knew what it would take to make it happen. And basically I was the way for it to happen. I could make it happen. I could do all those things that it took. And so we kind of just hashed out the details and stuff as far as like, are we going to do it live? Are we going to pre-record it? Are we going to do this? Or are we going to do that? How's it going to look?
How much so like we're in season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2 was pre-recorded. And first season was live. Which one do you like better?
So I think so there's pros and cons to both. Pre-recorded gives us the ability to create a more visually pleasing product for people. Live gives people a chance to be involved right now when it's happening tonight. It gives a different feel. Like if you think about when you watch the UFC fights, they happen tonight, and you're gonna watch them tonight. It's gonna be live. We're getting excited, you know.
Right.
And so like that's cool. Us doing it pre-recorded, we still have that feel. Like nobody knows what's going to happen tonight. It is like new to y'all and it's new to everybody, and we're live in the comments and we're all interacting in the comments, so it's got that vibe, which is cool. Pros and cons to both though. I think ultimately
I think I've enjoyed the what you were just talking about. It was like everybody's in the comments and engaging,
watching
and so
it
like,
together.
Yeah, it's kind of like everybody's sitting on the couch watching it at the same time.
That's the goal. At the end of the day, we want it to be like, football, Friday night football or something. If you watch your team play every Friday night, like that's cool. Like you watch sports. Jiu Jitsu's a sport. Like people should be watching their favorite grappler grapple every Friday night. It'd be cool. So that's kind of what the goal was. Whether we pre-record it or do it live, it needs to happen every week on a certain day every week to make that consistency.
Consistency is something that, I mean, then you're playing and we could nerd off onto some like algorithms.
Yeah. And now you got the fantasy league to go in with that. People are trying to tune in and make sure that their team is good so they can potentially win some money. Right now, so season 1, there was no real money.
Right.
Season 2, there's $1,000 real money to the winner.
Yeah.
Season 3, what's going to happen? Season 8, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Eventually, everybody should be making money in their fantasy league. So, if you are doing good, whether you win the first place or not, you should make something, right?
Right.
So eventually, that's the goal. The fantasy league, you're gonna gamble and make money, and it's gonna be fun. There's gonna be jiu-jitsu, and the interviews are making it fun. It should be fun for people that literally don't even do jiu-jitsu. Your mom should be able to have fun watching this. You know what I'm saying? That's what the goal is.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know percentages here, but there's a large percentage of the people that are watching football, like the Super Bowl. How many people watch the Super Bowl? A lot. What percentage of those people actively play football? Almost none. You know what I'm saying? With jiu-jitsu, it's the opposite. 98% of the people that watch jiu-jitsu tournaments do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it needs to flip. You know, we got to find a way to make it entertaining and fun for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a big step in that direction.
What do you think it is that the PGF is providing there? Is it the simplicity of the scoring, maybe, or?
I think it's a lot to do a jiu-jitsu tournament. It's a lot to do a wrestling tournament. It's a lot to do any kind of sporting tournament event, right?
Right.
We're doing it every single week. Is like we're putting on a show every single week. So that's what we're doing for people. It's just
You're
like
just providing consistent.
a place
Yeah.
to compete jiu-jitsu or watch competition jiu-jitsu. Like it's some like ADCC. Like it's 2 years, right? Like, man, I wish ADCC was every weekend. If we had the best grapplers in the world going at it every single, it'd be like, whoa, that's insane.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the PGF. We're going to have like high level grapplers going at it all the time to where like when you turn on your TV, you can just go to the grappling channel, and like just there's jiu-jitsu going on.
Yeah.
And it's from our media team. That's the ultimate goal. Brandon has talked about like on his YouTube channel having a live 24-hour broadcast that just goes all day, every day, and there's always jiu-jitsu on it.
Yeah.
So
Basically the ESPN of jiu-jitsu.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where everybody's like, no, you can't talk about sports for 24/7. Watch us talk about jiu-jitsu
Yeah,
for that. So your jiu-jitsu journey, you're a purple belt, right?
indeed.
What started you in jiu-jitsu?
Man, so funny. I'm from Texas.
Okay.
Lived there all my life. Yeah. And we all get in a little trouble growing up. Maybe not all of us. I got in a little trouble growing up. And after high school and after college, I did like 2 years of college, like business administration, like trying to mind my P's and Q's, like uncle and grandpa like paying me to like be a good kid, basically. Like, here, do this, please, Keelan, I'll pay for this. And so and I just knew that wasn't for me, but I was doing it because I didn't know what else to do. And so anyways, there was an opportunity for me to come to Alabama at one point and just leave everything I knew and do something else. And so I took it. And asked me how I landed in Decatur, I don't know, but I ended up...
I was like, this is a really random spot to land.
I ended up getting a job, and I was waiting tables. Super easy, just making money because I had no bills at the time. And I met Josh McMurray. He's a brown belt here now. And we were just watching the UFC fights, and I was just like, oh no, he's about to get him an arm bar. And Josh was like, oh, like, do you train or do you watch, like, what's going on? I was like, oh no, just love the UFC. My mom is ultra obsessed with jiu-jitsu. Like, we have UFC 1 through like UFC 42, like all on DVDs. Like
your mom's the fan.
She's the big fan of Hoist Gracie specifically.
Oh, okay.
She was like watching UFC 1 live, and watched Hoist Gracie do what he did. And so it was always a thing. Like, jiu-jitsu was cool.
Was around in your world.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But
did anybody train?
So no.
Okay.
I thought it was only in Brazil. I thought it was Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And the Brazilians do that.
You had to go to the jungle.
Like Americans, like there's like boxing, like stuff like that. And I just didn't know jiu-jitsu was a thing in America, to be totally honest.
That's awesome.
And then Josh was like, no, bro, like we do this like down the street. And I was like, what? So like I went and checked it out that week, and I signed up.
Was that Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my first introduction was with Brandon. He's a purple belt or a brown belt, early brown. Anyways, we were in the Bender's gym. It was like a 24-hour fitness place, and just in a room in their gym. And yeah, I mean, I freaking signed up, and I just knew I loved it then. And I had no kids, no wife, no prior attachments. Like I said, I was new to the area. This was cool. And once I found that, I just knew I was never going to go home. So I started jiu-jitsu then. It's been like about 6 years now. And yeah, I literally just never left.
Yeah. I mean, I've rolled with you. I mean, you're legit.
Thanks, man.
I teach people now that that guard pass that you were doing to me, that I was like, he almost put me to sleep until I let go. I was like, oh, I can just let go.
Yeah. Man, I've had my ups and downs in jiu-jitsu, but I'll tell you what, filming for Brandon has helped my jiu-jitsu tremendously.
Do you film yourself?
No,
You don't?
not that much. So I get myself filmed sometimes when I'm the Uki and I have Sierra film in class,
Right.
or when Nakaya is filming her stuff, and like.
But you don't ever really get to catch your jiu-jitsu on
No,
camera?
not really. I used to more when I was like not filming for Brandon.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu was part of my vlogs and documentation.
Right.
But no, not much anymore. I do love watching myself grapple and stuff, though. I feel like you learn something about yourself, right?
Oh yeah, because like for one, most people think they're doing something.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you tell somebody to do something when you're like teaching them how to do a move, and then they do something completely different, and you're like, that's not at all what I said, and they're like, yeah, it is.
I did it.
And you're like, no.
Yeah. I wish I could film myself more, but just watching good jiu-jitsu happen
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Has rubbed off, I mean, luckily my body kind of took to jiu-jitsu pretty quickly. Like, some people have trouble with some of the jiu-jitsu movements, shrimps and grambies and just like inverting and stuff like that, and my body never had too much issue with those movements. I did gymnastics when I was a kid, and I've always been like, I don't know, Spider-Man and stuff at Halloween, like rolling around,
Jumping
and,
around.
yeah,
and
you
doing-
know. And so my
It's just
body
like, you
took
don't get yelled at for doing this. Like,
right.
you mean I get to do the thing that I always do?
Editing videos, editing jiu-jitsu videos. Pause, rewind, clip, pause, play, watching it, making sure watching this technique 100 times, even though I just took the class 12 times. And that stuff rubs off too. I can't help but know where that hand goes in this pass because I've saw it 16 times, and Brandon was talking about it in the clip, so I heard it 16 times too.
Yeah.
So that stuff has been really good for my jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah, that's when I started filming was when I started seeing my jiu-jitsu grow as far as like outside of my like meat and potatoes like beginnings, like pressure pass, this, that. Like, I started getting more finesse and things like that when I started paying more attention to, it's funny what happens when you pay attention to details.
Yeah. About my blue belt, I want to say it was blue belt. Maybe I was getting my blue belt. I can't remember. Somewhere around that time. I was like looking for that promotion, that next level. Like, what do I need to work on? Or, and Brandon was like, man, I watch you roll and you do good, and like you're winning, and like you're doing stuff, you're doing jiu-jitsu moves, you're doing good. But I couldn't perform a move, and if he's like, hey, like Keelan, do the Uchimata or the hip bump to the triangle, or like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just doing stuff, and it was working.
It was right.
Yeah.
But you didn't know what it was.
Exactly. And he's like, I can't like give you the next rank if you don't even know what you're doing. Like, I realize you're doing good, but like, and so me learning those moves, editing, filming and stuff, that was it. Like, that's how I started imprinting those jiu-jitsu techniques and flows and stuff into my brain, and knowing what I was doing consciously now instead of unconsciously. So that was cool too.
Do you think that this was, I mean, like, it's kind of funny so with your mom being into UFC and all that type of stuff, because it's like, if you had told like 15-year-old you that this was what you'd be doing, like, would it be like, yeah, that seems dope?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have done it indefinitely. So I did karate when I was a kid too.
Okay.
And I got belted a couple, some form of blue belt in there. I was a kid and stuff, so I'm sure there's like kid ranking systems. I don't remember. Young, karate, whatever. I loved it. Okay, and I was super down to break some boards and stuff. And so yeah, if I knew if
I
you
remember a buddy of mine when I was a kid got to break a box and he got weapons, and I remember being like super jealous of like, yo, he gets weapons,
dude, it's cool, man.
like people shit on karate, but it's like there's some cool stuff.
Yeah, man. And for young kids, dude, that's the best. There's not a 5-year-old. I say that there probably is. There's not a lot of 5-year-olds that are gonna be out here, grabbing over hooks and clearing the face and like doing proper jujitsu, like winning inside spaces. They're like out here trying to have fun and like not skip around and pick their nose, And so karate, I think, is a great place for like the younger kids and stuff to like, hey, we're gonna put on the gi, stand in this line, bow, and like learn,
make them go through.
and then they do like fun, like, all right, and we're gonna do forward rolls, and can you kick this and dive here and jump over this, and it's fun, man. It's super fun, and their bodies are accidentally learning how to move just by doing this stuff, and like their minds are learning discipline. So yeah, people definitely shit on karate, but for young kids and stuff too, it's great. And then if you're an adult and you're trying to be serious about karate, there are some real karate styles, I mean, there's a couple like Lyoto Machida.
I was gonna say
Stephen Wonderboy.
I've been following Machida's stuff, and it kind of looks kind of cool.
Dude,
what he's doing.
yeah.
It's like kind of what you thought of when you were a kid. You were like, this is what it's like to train like a ninja.
Right. Dude, I felt like a ninja when I was training in karate. And whether it was real karate or not, I felt like I was a ninja as a kid. So that was cool.
That's
good,
what counts.
Good for the confidence.
What do you think? So you're the second one from here that I've interviewed other than Brandon that like, and I've noticed from training up here and rolling with guys that like, I don't even know if y'all are 100%. I'm sure you are from traveling around with Brandon, but like aware of like what's here, like what's going on. It's like it's not normal for this to be this good, and like the people that come out from it to be so consistently like everybody you roll with is good, but good in different ways. Like they're not all like, oh, they all have a killer like this sweep or that. Like, what do you think it is?
It's Brandon. It's Brandon and the culture he's built. If you think about a great positive environment for a plant to grow versus a shit environment where there's like little nutrients, this plant's going to grow better than that plant.
Right.
And I think Brandon has created, by choosing the right people to have around him and the right he's created a good spot for good jiu-jitsu to flourish. We've been trying to tell people, and people can listen to this, watch this, and hear us talking and still not understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because that you just have to experience it. You have to come here. You have to feel the place. You have to feel the jiu-jitsu. You have to feel the higher belt levels. You have to feel our lower belt levels. You have to feel what he's talking about. And I know what you're talking about. And I think it's just that. It's Brandon and this culture.
Some of the lower belts don't even realize it. They're just like, oh, this is how jiu-jitsu is. And you're like, not everywhere.
Yeah. If both seasons of the PGF, season 1, we had blue belts beat brown belts. And season 2, we've had blue belts beat brown belts. Both blue belts have been out of this gym, you know, and it's not a coincidence. We have white belts that are savages. We have, it starts early.
It's also too like, how many rooms have you like visited to roll in? Like, have you been through a lot?
Yeah, I've been to quite a few.
So like, you know that like some rooms that produce that are straight meat grinders. Like you walk in the room and you're lucky to walk out the other side. This isn't one of those rooms, and that's what's interesting. Is that like this isn't one you can get that, but it's not even like the super high level guys. It's not even that. It's beating you it's in such a way that like I'm the type that I'm up underneath y'all like giggling as I'm getting beat because
it's fun.
Because I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
But that's all the belts all the way from the white belts to the black belts. Like everybody kind of has their own style, and I think that's what you hit it on the head there.
Yeah, that's another thing. So Brandon and Scaff, are the, and Lindsay obviously, they're the black belts here, right?
Right.
None of them grapple like the other. Like Brandon and Scaff could not grapple any more differently. They just don't take the same paths. Whether they're playing guard, they're playing different guards. If they're passing differently. But Scaff is Brandon's first black belt, right? Like he got all his ranks under Brandon. And so it's like, why doesn't his game look like Brandon's? Well, it's because Brandon doesn't want everybody to grapple like Brandon. Jiu-jitsu, like what works for you may not work for me, right? And like Brandon's so aware of that, and at the end of the day, if it works, right? And so like there's things that you're gonna gravitate towards that I'm not gonna gravitate towards, but both of them work and both of them are good. There's like two ways to answer certain questions, you know? And so like his awareness of that, and like he's just such a good teacher, and he can like cultivate your jiu-jitsu, and so he does that for everybody here, you know, a little unconsciously or consciously, like whether he knows it or not, he just does that, right?
Yeah.
And he can see the game broadly, you know, he can see things broadly, which is good, you know, when you're like trapped and being super subjective all the time, it's hard to like help everybody. He's good at being objective and like just seeing the way broadly, so it's what he's built around here. He's the special thing that it has attracted all the other special things that are now here, you know.
Yeah, that's like with the PGF has been fascinating to watch. That like most people would take something like that and like, I mean, like in today's age, like go like running behind a paywall with it, or things like that. But like he's still like making it like a cultural thing, and that's what's been cool.
Yeah,
like seeing that kind of like. Did you ever think when you started filming for Brandon that you were gonna create something that, because it's hit me a couple times where like I've heard on the podcast stuff that we've created through the PGF on our end of things that are getting referenced, like over at the Dream Show, like that gets referenced in a cultural way on a podcast that's like twice removed from me. That's been a weird experience for me. Yeah,
it's super cool. To answer your question, no, I didn't think any of that would come.
Yeah.
I thought I might get to train for free. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's where I was at.
It's giving me this cool thing that I like to do.
Yeah.
And I won't get in trouble because I'm not spending money on it.
Yeah. But it's definitely grown into much more than that. We're making a media empire is the goal, and if we want to make anything blow up and get views and traction, then we just point the media Death Star at that thing, is what Brandon says, you know. So do we want to push this instructional?
Right.
Well, then we're going to make this kind of content and push this online. Do we want to blow up the PGF? Well, then here's what we're going to do. We're just a media team that can do media stuff, right? And so
did you follow much of like Gary Vee and those guys back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's so crazy to me how hard it is to get people to realize that like it's just that easy. Is it like, but it's, all right, you say just that easy, but it's just
simple, not easy.
Simple. Yeah. That's a better way to put it. Is that like it's just right there. All you got to do, but you got to do the thing.
Yeah, that's the reason that no one else is going to do the PGF.
Yeah.
It's because you just got to do it, and some people aren't willing to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Every week, all the time.
That's what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're gonna get better at it as time goes on, and so it's just gonna get easier for us to do it, and so eventually it's just gonna be second nature. It's just gonna be something that happens to PGF.
Yeah. What about do y'all have anything? Have y'all even discussed what I know there's a finale, right?
Yep, a no time limit submission only tournament to declare the true winner.
That's ooh. So how's that going to play out? How's that going to work? Is it going to be a bracket?
Yeah, so the whole season, you got to think about it like this. You're watching football, the NFL, okay?
Right.
There's a preseason to get everybody ready for the thing. Then there's a regular season. Why do they have a regular season? To determine the playoff seedings, to determine who makes it into the playoffs, who's not even good enough to be in the playoffs, and then who's the best. So they're probably going to get a bye. Everybody else can fight them, and then the worst guy fights. It's like seeding in the playoffs. So the whole season, the only reason you're doing games is to see what the playoffs are going to look like. And so that's what we're doing. The whole season of the PGF is to get points and see who's going to make it to the playoffs. And then within the playoffs, who's ranked number one and who's ranked on the barely made it into the playoffs, and then it's going to play out who you match up against. So they're getting through the season. We're halfway through the season. The second half of the season is even better than the first half, but they're going to finish racking up points, and then they're going to make it into the playoffs or not. And then the playoffs are a no time limit, submission only, grappling tournament, where the first place guy goes against the 8th place guy, right? Then the second place guy goes against the 7th place guy, and single elimination, one man is going to come out of that tournament having not tapped and having tapped everybody, and he's going to be the PGF champion. So the regular season PGF champion, that's cool, but that just means you made it into the playoffs and you scored a lot of points doing it. Now you got to become the true PGF champion.
And they paid out the first season.
Yeah,
so
and
they
we
made a little bit of money.
And so
will they make some money on this back end?
Yep. So the regular season winners make money. The top four people in the regular season will get paid, and then I think the top 4 people in the playoffs, like when it's all said and done, like first place guy, whoever finished first in the playoff tournament, will get paid. Second, third, and I think 4th as well.
That's been the craziest part of being involved with all this, is that because I came out of the MMA world, and so like I don't know, have you fought?
I haven't.
MMA?
I've trained lots of MMA, but no, I haven't fought.
I came out of the MMA world, and not out, like I'm still in the MMA world, but like the fight world is so different in the fact that like I know guys that are fighting for $600.
Yeah. Fighting,
risking their brains.
Yeah.
And $600, that's good.
Yeah.
I know guys doing it for free. I know guys that just got done doing it for free.
Yeah.
I did it a lot for free.
Yeah. 3 to show.
Yeah.
3 if you win.
Yeah. That type stuff.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. And so like to see like this has been my introduction to the 10th Planet system too. Like I've kind of like gotten to know the like how they run tournaments and these EBIs and stuff, like paying people and like helping people out, and like that's been one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you feel it here, definitely at Brandon's, like with the network that you get of like if you're doing something cool, like there's a whole network of people that are like, oh, this is really cool, and they'll like run behind it for you.
Definitely, we've definitely felt the support with the PGF from the people and from sponsors and stuff like that, and I think it's just going to grow. The support will just grow, and people will want to give more in. And the thing about Brandon and me, I mean, we're a team. He's always going to give back to Jiu Jitsu, you know? Like, if, just hypothetically, season 2 finishes, and somebody's like, oh my God, we love what y'all are doing, here's lots of money. Dude, more than half that money would be pumped right back into the PGF to make season 3 even better for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're not
have
just gonna
anything in the cooks for season 3.
So there's definitely like, things being talked about, right?
Yeah.
Like we know that the season 3 is going to be 170 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
We know that we don't want to have it here. Mm-hmm. We want to do it somewhere else. So go for a
circus on the road.
Yeah, go for a week somewhere else and just do the whole season in a week somewhere else. Make it happen somewhere super cool. And then, that's about all we know about season 3. We also take it back. We know we want to do qualifiers for the season 3. So there will be PGF qualifiers in season 3. So we're going to have certain people that are guaranteed spots.
Right.
Okay, these people are in the PGF. Now, anybody else that wants to be in, here's what's going to happen. We're going to have a qualifier tournament where, basically one man wins the tournament, and then he's in the PGF, you know, and we'll do that for different areas. So there may be a Jacksonville qualifier, and then an Atlanta qualifier, and then a blah blah, you know,
Right.
et cetera, to where everybody's competing in these qualifiers to get into the PGF. So that'll be a new aspect of season 3.
That'll be interesting because that'll play out because then you'll be able to see the guys. So you won't have sleepers coming in straight in then because you'll be able to see somebody grapple before.
Yeah, unless we put them in there ourselves, you know.
Oh.
Unless we put in the sleepers.
Oh, there might be some. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I like this because it's the entertainment value that it brings to jiu-jitsu. I don't think we've ever had.
Dude, imagine if you have a bunch of black belts, you end up getting some of those matches, especially we're talking 6-minute matches here. Dude, imagine how many draws you'd see if a bunch of black belts were in here. Just because they're all so good.
Yeah.
How am I going to tap him and how's he going to tap me?
Yeah.
In 6 minutes? Get out of here, you know? But when you got somebody that's like purple belt versus black or blue versus brown, like, dude, there's probably going to be a tap. And oh, wait, there can be upsets. You know, like, imagine if there was not an Evan or a Matt Anderson in these tournaments. Like,
Right.
you wouldn't have the chance for there to be these big like moments in the PGF where that was crazy and
Yeah.
like it's on video and stuff. Like, you know, it's like,
Oh yeah.
so
I mean, there was the when I interviewed Matt Elkins, it wasn't out yet on the back step, but now it's out. And it's
yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah. Those things happen just in sports, right? Like upsets happen. And so we're trying to create those moments, man. Like the PGF, we not even like forcibly create them, but like make the opportunity be there. So like if a blue belt never grapples a brown or black belt, then that chance can never happen. So we
Right.
got to at least give them the chance, right?
See.
Put these blue belts out there, man, and just see what they got. And dude, we've saw time and time again. Upsets can and will happen.
Yeah.
It's Murphy's Law, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think it's been cool. I think it's been fun. I think the PGF thing is played out in a way that like I wouldn't have thought.
yeah,
Like being involved on our end, like the watching Steven get to compete. The biggest thing that I honestly forgot until it was last time I was when I was doing the interview, when I was editing, when he was in here, and he said he was like, "This is the most I've competed, like sometimes in a year, in 7 days."
yeah,
So like that's been the biggest thing that I don't think people realize. Like this all happened in a very short amount of time,
yeah,
and like it's cool to watch it be broken out over and stretched out because it's like mind-boggling.
Yeah,
what those guys pulled off.
yeah. It's been fun, man. I'm still editing everything. I just finished episode 4 last night, and that drops this week. So that shows you where we're at, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm editing episode 5.
What's the biggest match this week?
In episode 4 coming up this week, Friday. I actually have the blocks right
You
here.
actually have them right in front of you. Because like I've blended up and not really quite remembered exactly what order everything happened in, but my back was to the action majority of the time. So like
So let's
anybody
see.
looking for fantasy tips,
Episode
I'm not the
1
guy.
was match 1. Episode 2 was block 2 and 3. Episode 3 was block 4 and 5. So episode 4 will be 5 and 6, right?
Yeah.
2, 3, 5 and 6. So in block 5, we're gonna have Zach Edwards against Evan. We got Kevin and Kamoy. Josh. Oh no, we saw that one, right? That was in episode 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kevin Kamoy was in that last episode.
Yeah, so we must be in block 6 and 7. Jake Elkins versus Steven.
Oh yeah.
That's
okay.
that's a big
That's
match.
right.
Because like Steven's top 3 on his team, I
Yeah.
think, and Jake's top 3. That's
And bro, Jake is
dude, he's a monster,
thick
right?
with 3 C's.
Yeah, bro.
3 C's.
So that should be fun.
I've gotten to roll with him since, and I was like, wow, you're as big and burly as they say.
You also got Evan the blue belt phenom versus Sam.
The blue belt phenom.
Can he get another upset? You got Matt Elkins versus Elijah. Should be a good match. I hate that Matt's injured, but that should be good. And then Hunter versus Kevin. Kevin's a beast, super great defensively. So can Hunter kill him like he's been killing everybody? We'll see there. Block 7. You're gonna have the wrestling match. Here's what everybody should be looking forward to: is Randy the wrestler versus Jake Elkins, Papa Bear Elkins. That'll be the wrestling match, man. We got a D1 wrestler from Duke against a D2 wrestler back in his prime who now owns a wrestling gym and teaches wrestling for a living. So we're gonna have two people that definitely don't want to end up on their butts in front of everybody. So that should be fun.
That's gonna be a fun one. That one, that's because Steven called it when we were standing in line and everybody was like doing the little like dodgeball style like team pick.
Yeah.
He was like the guy with the afro.
Yeah.
He's like, pick him. He's like, I know.
Dump truck Randy.
Bro. That's I don't remember if I rolled with Randy on that day that everybody rolled. I turned around, bro. The day that we were here, I think I rolled with you on that day. It was not a good day for me that day. I turned around, my very first roll was Zach Edwards. And I was like, you're rolling? He was like, yeah. He wrecked me. Hunter wrecked me. Then somebody else wrecked me.
Oh, yeah. My first roll was Hunter that day.
Oh, God. Bro, that back take is beautiful. Like,
yeah, it is.
He hits that so smoothly. But, man, I've enjoyed having you on.
Dude, I've had fun. I love chatting with you, man.
Do you have anything else you would like to explore in the universe, in the thought verse? Anything you want to put out there?
Man, I don't know.
You can delve off and do another hour or something if you want. I don't care.
I don't know,
This is
man.
your
Just
show, man. We're just the media guys doing a video podcast about a podcast of a video.
I'm into those kind of things.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked about the intro to filming and the film journey, the PGF, which
Where
is
are you on your jiu-jitsu journey now? You're a purple belt, right?
Man, I can smell the brown belt.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
What parts do you feel like that you smell that you're not quite there on?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't even think about it that much. I think so recently, when I got my purple belt, I had like no wrestling and pretty much no leg lock offense. I've always had good leg lock defense. Like, I feel pretty good defensively, but during the purple belt, I got introed to Matt Elkins and Jake and them and started wrestling a lot, started filming for Ironclad Wrestling. And so I pretty much dove into wrestling hardcore. And like now people call me the wrestler around the gym, And
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. So the second thing so that was a big change. I'm like a different grappler now that I'm a wrestler, right? So that was a big evolution in the purple belt. Then kind of asked Brandon, I was like, what should I be working on? Me, personally. He was like, leg locks. So it was boom. A couple months ago, started kind of doubling down on leg locks. And, dude, now they joke around like, oh, Keelan's a leg locker, right?
He's the leg lock guy.
So
asking for pointers.
that's another evolution within the purple belt. So, like, since I've gotten my purple belt, I've had it 2 years, like, next month or a couple days, like, right at 2 years pretty much. And, man, I've had a lot of evolution and growth within the purple belt.
Right.
What's left to get to that brown? I don't know. I think just consistency. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little more cooking, I guess.
Yeah.
I think
it's two
Brandon
purple belts sitting here talking about how to get a brown belt.
Right.
So like
Brandon has told
joke's on
me
us.
he would like for me to compete again. I haven't competed in a while. But with a wife and 3 kids, running a business and doing all this, it's really tough. And nothing excites me to compete, especially when it's like, hey, pay this money.
Spend $100. I was fixing to say, spend $100.
Drive this distance. Spend all day.
Might have somebody in your division.
Yeah, it's like nothing really excites me. But he said, like, hey, I want you to compete. So, like, I went out on a limb. There was an opportunity that arose.
Yeah.
These people called me, 10th Planet Atlanta. It's like, hey, or they called Brandon and was like, we need somebody to fill in for this quintet team. Here's the weight, purple belt preferably. And Brandon was like, hey, do you know anybody at the gym? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, I mean, I can make that weight. Like, I like jumped to it because I knew, like, we had talked about this. Like, he wanted me to compete. Like, oh, here's an opportunity for someone to compete. It just happens to be a purple belt at like around 170. So I was like, all right, fuck. Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll make it. Yeah.
So turns out the competition is the next day. So tomorrow in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, starts at 9 a.m. So I have to drive right now 10 hours to go there, okay? And if I get there, it's going to be 3:30, 4 a.m. Turns out it was like 6 a.m. So I had an hour and a half of sleep to be up there at 9. So I'm like, fuck it, here I go. I'm trying to compete, bro. I'm trying to do this thing, like rank up. I'm just
Get
gonna
my brown belt.
I'm gonna fuck these dudes up with an hour of sleep and get my brown belt. That's like what was on my goal.
Musashi shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Turns out, bro, it's this big. I forget what. I don't want to say the organization because I may be wrong, but it's this big like wrestling organization. And they just have like 2 mats for jiu-jitsu over here. There's like 24 mats for wrestling, and then there's 2 mats for jiu-jitsu. One's for like one-on-ones, and this is for the quintet matches. Oh, wait, all 3 of the other quintet teams pulled out this morning, so there's no quintet tournament.
They heard you were coming.
Bro.
They must have.
So, turned it into just a beach trip, because I had my family with me, and didn't get to compete. So, I've staked my claim. I've told Brandon I'm not going to compete. The only competition I'm competing in is the high rollers event. I'm down for the high rollers.
Okay.
If I could get on that somehow, I would be in, but I'm just not interested in any other competitions really.
Yeah.
That gets me excited.
None of the rest of them tickle your fancy.
No, the high rollers gets me excited. I would be super
the
pumped to
pound
compete
for the win.
Yeah, and just the whole experience and the vibes of the tournament.
Be able to do it.
I'm into that. That gets me excited.
Yeah.
I would have fun and like, yeah. But other than that, I don't just. So if like competing is what I have to do to get the brown belt, then I'm like, it doesn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. At the end of the day, we're in a no-gi school, and you can come in here with whatever rank you fucking want to, and we can figure shit out. Like,
that's always been what I tell people when they like have that imposter syndrome with their belt. Yeah. Like, you can just look at people and be like, if you think I don't deserve it, come take it. And if they can take it, man, maybe it was better for them.
Man, yeah, I don't know. You know, I just don't know about the whole ranking stuff. I remember Chuck Mitchell telling me one time, I think I was a blue belt. He was like, you know, when you feel embarrassed to have the belt you have, that's when you're ready for your next belt. And
like embarrassed to have it?
Yeah, like, oh, I can't believe I'm still like
I more of meant the fact that like I sit in my car sometimes and I'm like, I don't know who gave me this purple belt.
No, yeah. I mean, in the sense of like, okay, when you first get your purple, you're like, wow, I got my purple. Like, I don't know, like there's a bunch of savage purple belts, and like a year goes by and you're like, okay, I'm a purple belt, you know. Yeah. Then like a year and a half goes by and you're like, yeah, I'm a good purple belt. Like 2 years or however long goes by and you're like, man, I'm bucking up these purple belts. I can't believe I'm still a purple belt. You know, and it's like, now you're getting ready for, you know, you're like, now that's like a good sign. Like, okay.
In my experience, you usually get to that point and then some like white belt that wrestled for 8 years comes in.
Ego checks you.
Yeah. And you're like, maybe I'm a blue belt.
That is going to happen, man. There's just some people that have your number, whether it's stylistic matchups, whether it's like size or body styles or just specific techniques, like this guy's a leg locker and this guy's not, or like there's so many variables that like who you beat or who beats you doesn't matter. There's like a much bigger picture, right?
Like that was one of the big like humps I had to get over in like my thing, because like I came from like a world of a lot of people. Like I still am around guys that I hear them being like, oh, like I tapped this guy like 3 times, or I tapped this guy, or this, and that's and I get what they're doing. I understand what they're comparing, but then I'm like, really, you're just comparing something that doesn't really actually matter.
Yeah. If that mattered, if it was about who you beat, dude, yeah. I mean, fuck. I guess I'd be a black belt. Because, like, I've beat black belts, right?
Right.
And I've beat brown, like...
Right.
But that's not what it's about.
Right.
And, like, another thing is, like, the specific subjective journey of each individual. So my journey is going to be different than yours and his and hers, right? Like, if I start my jiu-jitsu path, boom, here's my first day. And, like, we go about, like, who you beat and who... Like, dude, then, like, I would have been a blue belt on my first day. You know, like, I already had... Like, my body already did this, and, like, I would learn quickly with this. And, like, you know, this person may take way longer and have no natural talent at all and take way longer to develop skills and, like, have no hand-eye coordination. And, like, they're way fatter and, like, I'm way in better shape. And, like, there's so many variables that go into it that person, their black belt, is going to look different than this person's black belt. Or, like, a good example is, like, a competition dude, like somebody that's just super high, like Gordon Ryan, bro. Like, dude, his journey, like, if you got to be as good as Gordon Ryan was when he got his black belt, if you got to be that good to get a black belt, then there's so many people that will never, ever, 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 ever be a black belt.
Right.
So it's, like, not about you versus him or her or them. It's, like, you versus yourself. Like, who are you as a black belt and who are you as a brown
It's
belt?
almost like a microcosm of life.
Yeah, man. Dude, it totally is. So the ranking is just so subjective to the person who's given the ranks,
Right.
that it's, like, hard to say. I really don't know how Brandon thinks like that. We don't talk about that much because he doesn't like ranks in general. He doesn't want to give people ranks.
Yeah.
Like, he's talked about, like, no, I'm just gonna, like, not do ranks. Like, he's talked about that just because he hates the idea.
Be like
of
the
it.
McDonald's that is a McDonald's but doesn't participate in anything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're kind of silly.
French fries, no, but we got spaghetti.
And, like, the tension or whatever builds around, like, ranks and stuff.
Right.
And, like, as a guy who's, like, responsible for giving ranks, that's gotta suck. Right.
Oh,
It's gotta be terrible.
Where, like, people, like, get hurt or get their feelings hurt,
Yes,
or feel
bro.
sad, or, like, and all you're doing is this thing that you want everybody to be happy about.
Right.
So, like, you're
Right.
like, yeah, that's a pressure that I would not look forward to.
Yeah, me either. So that's where I'm at on my jiu-jitsu journey. I feel like I'm getting close to that brown. Like, I feel like a good purple belt, but I don't know. I mean, when I found just
out you
know-
were a purple belt, my ego didn't cry. It wasn't like finding out you were a blue belt or, like, it started like a month ago. Like, okay, I'm gonna go cry. Like, he put me to sleep.
Yeah, I just love doing jiu-jitsu. That's where I'm at on my jiu-jitsu journey, is I just love being on the mats. Like, sometimes I won't make class, but I'll definitely be here for those rolls just because it's like a therapy, dude. I just love jiu-jitsu. And, like, I'll be here as long as I can see in the future, you know, like, however long I can, I'll be here doing jiu-jitsu. And so I don't care how long it takes to get the brown belt or the black belt or whatever. Like, I know I'm going to be a black belt eventually, so I give a shit how long it, like, whatever.
I'm the same way of, like, it's like I don't really care because it's more the fact that, like, I've now gotten to the point that, like, this is what I'm gonna do. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
Dude,
ifs, ands, or
that's
buts.
me. I mean, I work for Brandon. Half the stuff I have, he bought, so I can't go nowhere.
Free Keelan. No, I think, man, and it's really cool what y'all have created here. Like, this is the whole thing. Like, it's meeting y'all was pretty cool because, like, it's what I was kind of trying to convince Steven to create, and he came up to, like, some coaches weekend or something y'all had, and he came back and he was like, everything you said, I want to do it. And I was like, I don't know what got into you, but cool.
Yeah. And he's one of the ones that really took that BMAC camp to heart.
Yeah.
We had a couple presentations on just, like, social media and true fans and the media side. And, yeah, content creation is super important these days, man.
Well, I think we're creeping up on class time. What, you want to embark anything on the world? You want to leave them with a website, with a plug, whatever you want?
No, we've talked about enough. Go watch the PGF. And here's the quote that changed my life, so I guess I'll leave that, if anything.
There you go.
The grass is not greener on the other side, my friends. The grass is greener where you water it. So whatever you're doing in life, jiu-jitsu or raising kids or starting a business, you know, you just put the time and work in, water your grass, and it'll flourish.
Boom.
Boom. Science.
Is there a point to my act? I would say there is. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up! Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account.